Folks, welcome. Why don't we take one quick minute to introduce yourselves outside the titles and the names that I gave and your role in omnichannel and customer experience. I'm going to start on the far end with you, Divya.
Yeah, thank you, Nassia, and I'm sure that this is the last panel, but not the least, going to be the most exciting one going forward. I'm Divya Wakankar. I lead the strategy, marketing and new business at BICS. BICS is a communication service provider. You can consider us as the operator of the operators, actually, and we have recently the new addition, which is Route Mobile in our family, and we also have Telesign as a brand next to us. So it's a big company, Proximus Global, with multiple brands in it, and we are really excited and looking forward to bringing some information and learn more at my forum.
Fantastic. Thank you, David.
So thank you so much as well. My name is David Fenandez, Spanish, but living in the Bay Area for the last 11 years. My background is working for big tech companies, in most of the cases, for example, WhatsApp, and my last 4 years I spent with Google doing RCS, in which I was working in different projects, particularly for big enterprises and brands. I ended with generative AI and working with Gemini. I connected the dots between messaging and AI, and I decided to jump off my own startup that is called DeCh.at, which is basically trying to take the lead of AI agents within the lens of conversational AI. And I'm leading the conversational AI mastermind group in the Silicon Valley group as well. So that's where probably I'm here.
I tried to join that one, but it wasn't streaming. Next time.
Good day, everyone. I'm Vova. I'm with the GMS, which is an AI-driven communications partner for enterprises and telcos alike, where we're supporting businesses in communication channels in the way they communicate with the end users through Convoy Suite, CPaaS, and network protection solutions. Excited to be here with you guys.
Fantastic. And Liubov?
Hello, everyone. My name is Liubov, and I'm here on behalf of Kompaas. Kompaas has been implementing large-scale products and services since 2014, and our main approach is a communication platform as a service. And why I'm here, because recently we have started develop contact center enhanced by AI, which is obviously includes so many channels, and it looks like omnichannel platform as a service.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, folks. And I promise you a journey. And to get us started on this journey, we're going to go into where omnichannel and customer experience, how has it traversed in the past 5 years? What have we seen in the evolution, Vova, of omnichannel in the past 5 years?
Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot, Nassia. Thanks a lot. So I'm clearly recalling myself talking about a similar subject around 2-3 years ago, maybe, at MEF London, and now I'm going to cover it in a very similar way to kind of give continuity to what we're talking through. And ultimately, from the omnichannel customer experience perspective, I'm always looking at 3 major dimensions: customers, technology, and business. So if we were to break it down into kind of just simple bullet points for each of these, essentially, we always start with the customer, and I'm happy to see that's exactly happening. That now we are, in terms of, while we all have a variety of channels that we can use to interact with the users, ultimately companies are becoming much more customer obsessed and customer focused. So we're not talking about, hey, what's better to use WhatsApp, Viber, SMS, or email, but rather, how does the journey for the end user look like? What are the touch points that user is actually interacting with and through, and how we can complement his experience throughout these touch points? That's one of the major kind of shifts across the years I personally have witnessed. We are becoming much more focused on understanding how users, how customers actually behave, what they're looking for, and how they want to be contacted, how they want to be interacted with. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I'm looking from the customer perspective is that it becomes much more contextually aware, meaning that the companies are able to retain significant amount of data of previous interactions with the end user, and consequently they know what's actually happening in the journey, and they can contact and interact with that history in mind, meaning that they can actually make the conversations very tailored, timely, and spot on. Mm-hmm. From the technology perspective, and my guess is we're going to be covering it later on all things, new channels and AI stuff, My biggest excitement, especially over the past 2.5 years, was with how channels that are actually popular and consumed by the end users are trying now to experiment with message and content types. Couple of months ago, maybe slightly a couple of quarters ago, we have launched together with Viber business calls, where users are able to call Viber, businesses through Viber. WhatsApp has been introducing some new ways how you can send messages. And going back to Viber example, they are looking now at introducing lists and surveys that businesses can create to engaging customers. So that's an exciting bit to me, right? Because of course we can talk about everything else, but when we are constantly trying to experiment and find new ways to interact, that's where the kind of the value can arise for us or everyone in the ecosystem. And now, to finish off from the business perspective, my favorite bit is we're at the same time simplifying pricing models and making them more complex. So once on one hand side, we're going back to the roots with price per message. On the other hand side, we're thinking, hey, how can we become more relevant to the enterprises by charging per monthly active user or per certain amount of tokens they use? So that's it in a nutshell.
Okay, but David, I can see it in your eyes. You have some thoughts.
I mean, I will be a little bit brief, but definitely one of the things that clearly we have seen is with the evolution of messaging, the value of conversational, right? So we definitely all believe that with WhatsApp taking the lead, but now with RCS or Apple Messages for Business or Viber following to some extent, there's a big opportunity for enterprises to capitalize the customer engagement that Vova mentioned already. And by the way that we were pitching customers when I was in Google and in Meta was talking about the entire customer journey, right, on how you can create value across the boards. But what we have seen, which is very interesting, is like while brands, they are seeing messaging and conversational a very interesting channel, with generative AI, voice come back to the play. I mean, we all thought that voice was going to be dying and eventually email to some extent, but we're seeing that voice is becoming another very relevant channel, which at one moment in time is going to be very interesting to leverage. And we have seen, last but not least, that WhatsApp is, for example, implementing something that is called business calling, right? So it's like beyond Viber, exactly. That is going to be very big too.
Yeah, it's very interesting what you're saying. It's been the revival of a lot of technologies and channels that we thought like we put to bed, but all of a sudden now they have a new lease of life. And I always say to folks, we're selling two entities. We have our traditional customer, that's me and you, and we have a big army of bots that we need to sell and create an experience so we're discoverable as businesses as well. So what is this doing? I'm coming to you, Divya, when it comes to the strategy and innovation around omnichannel and customer experience.
Yeah, so very, very good description from Vova. Actually, what we see is communications is not left as communications alone. Now we are bringing communications in customer relationship management. So it's becoming an omni-channel customer relationship management, actually. The journey starts from the marketing and goes until the customer service, right? And there we see that you can use different channels for different purposes, but you need to make sure that you have the consent from the end user. And the consent is an important element that comes in there for everything now, including omni-channel. And I think we are going to touch base on telco API as well. And Nassia, we had a coffee chat there, right, that there is a KYC component that can come into picture, right, for every communication that is ongoing, and there we can control the fraud element to it, right? I mean, it's very important, and operators can become the custodian of KYC actually in the industry. I think there is an opportunity right now for that. So that's where I see the innovation element coming in. Omnichannel trends, very well said, David. I joined BICS in 2013, and at that time they said that voice is going to be dead, right? We carry 22 billion minutes every year, right? So I can tell you, it's a big business that we do with voice, and there it was said that, yeah, it might die in the next 5 years. I tell you, it's 11 years already. It's still, doing great, and there are some new use cases that are coming up. So the voice is moving as an enterprise voice now, and the voice messages, right? I think the newer generation, the ones who are in their 10s or teens now, they rely quite a lot on the voice messaging, right, where they record the voice and they send it across, because it shows authenticity as well. And I think the security concept will also come in there, but we can talk about it over the panel.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. You said something key right there. You covered the holistic approach on the customer journey and experience, all the way from the first touch point to the customer service at the end. And you guys are involved with contact centers for customer service. How has that experience has enabled you, and what did it drive that thought, you know what, we need to get into this play outside, the CPaaS, but we also need to add this and add AI even on top of it?
Yeah, sure. So I would say that I would like to add to the first question that transformation has happened from single adding different kind of channels to CPaaS platform as well, and now it's added by artificial intelligence, which obviously helps analyzing customer's journey, customer behavior, customer needs in real time and with better insights. But of course, there are some obstacles, like not always artificial intelligence can be so detailed, so it needs to be trained and it needs to have a knowledge. So I would say that the main point for 2025 for using artificial intelligence and know how to use knowledge base to train your system to answer and give answers to your customers in more detailed way. So.
Okay, so I'm going to come back. I'll put a pause on AI because we can spend the rest of the time just talking AI, because I want to cover the big buzz of the year, which is RCS, RBM, and even WhatsApp as a channel. I know both you, Vova, and also David, you touched upon a little bit, but how do we see that expanding? Where do we see it going? Because everybody is excited, everybody is running to implement, especially when it comes to RBM. But what is that going to do to the industry? David, if you can help us a little bit.
Yes, well, first of all, just to say that obviously RCS has been here for a while, so I think that obviously there are people that are more skeptic and less skepticism around that, but I think that's something that has been already backing this channel has been that Apple supporting it, no? And with Apple supporting it, now we have a chance to have more than 6 billion devices natively enabled with a basic native messaging communication channel, right? And I think that is going to be fundamental, pretty big. For example, markets in the US, which is very big on SMS, and SMS is still growing, eventually are going to change into conversational because, whether we believe it or not, US is not a WhatsApp market. So while other markets are more WhatsApp-oriented, the US is not, but the big brands that are running the big campaigns and they're having the big dollars are basically based in the US. So when it comes to RCS is a key driver and enabler for enterprises to believe that there is an opportunity in conversational, right? So, and with that, obviously, it enables a lot of different things, no? One of the beauties of RCS is like it's a branded channel, two is a verified channel, and when it comes to verify, going back to Divya's point, it's like to verify a brand, you have to keep sure that you have the user consent. At least you have a way to really capture that user consent, and this is critical. But the last but not least is a rich channel. So it's not only pure textual. You're not going to have a conversation with a brand. And let's assume the typical conversations we are having with AI, which are purely text, are going to be more multimodal. Where, we were discussing in the previous session on the sports content that you can have personalized discussions and conversations. It's like, imagine that you're looking for a t-shirt, but you are not sure exactly what you're looking for, and you end up being presented on offer 3 different t-shirts, right? And then you choose the one that you really like, no? And assuming that at the end of the day, enterprises, as Vova was mentioned, they can gain the context, those AI agents and those enterprises have a much more better context of what is going on.
Okay, and Vova, any use cases that you've seen when it comes to RCS or RBM in the recent times that were like, whoa, this is good, and we can expand that and replicate it?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just first add a couple of words to what David was talking through, because to me, again, please don't hate me for this, but I'm treating any and all channels as a commodity. And to me, it's a baseline hygiene to have a sufficient coverage for the markets you're operating in across messaging, voiced, email, video, and so on and so on, right? That's the baseline. And as a rule of thumb, I'm always looking at either average penetration market, which we have, let's say, by practicing, trying, experimenting, and failing, discovered that if the penetration is beyond 40% of the population, it's really hard to get the channel up and flying, whatever it is, right? On the other hand side, there are some exclusions from the rules, that even with this under 40, if you get great conversions and great actions and cost per action, you can also play with some other channels kind of below this threshold. Now, going back to RCS, and I wouldn't be bringing up any specific RCS use cases rather, because they are fairly similar across RCS, WhatsApp, Viber, and any other rich media channel. Not necessarily it's the RCS per se itself, because to me, and I will roll back to the initial question, Nassia, hey, what's going on with the customer engagement and customer focus? We must, if we are genuinely to focus on customer experience, then we must be channel agnostic and follow the journey, follow the user. Right? And that matters much more than anything else, or any specific way. I have discovered now that I can deliver one campaign through RCS and it's great. Or I have figured out that for my promotional campaign, for Black Friday, for example, 2024, RCS uptake was significantly higher. Of course it was. Obviously, it's a new channel, so no wonder users are clicking on the buttons and images I'm sending to them. It will fade away eventually. What genuinely matters is, again, understanding how personas or users are behaving, what they look for, and serving them accordingly. And we can't change that. So to me, as a bottom line for RCS, I'd love to see actually eyeballs of us B2C users using it much more, because if more users come to RCS, brands will follow instantly.
So I don't know if you were here first thing when we had the keynote actually from Microsoft, and they were talking about, she was covering like when they're using RCS. And what is stuck into my head was, well, we implementing slowly in some destinations RCS where SMS is too expensive. So to me, that's not a use case that is like a long-term solution. And I agree with you, what you said, Vova, each should be channel agnostic.
I can speak on that, by the way, from the real experience. No, I totally agree that you have to be focused on what your customers are and how your customers are going to operate. The same thing that I always mention, when I was on Meta, is like, people don't run digital marketing campaigns exclusively on Facebook, right? They do on TikTok, they do on Instagram, they do Google search. Same approach to channels, right? So it's where are you going to get your maximum return of investment, at the same time creating the better customer experience. That's where you have to focus, no? Mm-hmm. And, well, 40% is a great number. I've seen lower numbers of penetration of the market, for example, in RCS. And with lower penetration rates, we have seen really, really great ROIs and really great customer experience. And one case, for example, in the US for Black Friday was a company called Simple Human. By just only migrating their existing SMS campaigns into RCS, it was like a little more of improving image and like that. They got 80% more conversions than on average. And when they even implement videos, they go up to 280%, right? So, and that's where you get stickiness into the marketeers and into the brands saying, okay, well, this works. No, even that maybe the penetration is not as big as it should be.
Mm-hmm. And Divya, you are saying you're shaking your head, agreeing quite a bit, but from your perspective, when it comes to the channels and what you see, because you get involved on the strategy side of the business, how do you see I would say adoption? Do the customers or the users, the end users care about if it's WhatsApp, RCS, SMS, or do they care about the actual experience?
Well, they care about the actual experience, actually, and I think it's the responsibility of the businesses and the providers to make sure that there is a unified profile of the user, right? I think, and that's why I talked about the omnichannel customer relationship. Because if I am on WhatsApp and if I have some conversation and then I receive another conversation on RCS, it's not going to help because the context is lost, right? So we have to make sure that the context is maintained, and we use in the KYC, we have to make sure that we understand what the customer is looking for and what is their behavior, right? And there comes the predictive analysis, right? The Gen AI capabilities that we are talking about. And there is a new VCon that has come up by IETF, a new standard which talks about, you tag your conversations, be it voice or messaging or your Teams call others, right? And by doing that, you can extract the information as and when needed, depending on the consent given by the end user, and you can figure out what the customer is actually looking for and do a prescriptive analysis there, right? So there are a lot of things that are coming. They're in silos at the moment, and I think we have to bring it together. So as providers, we have to make sure we take the technology, we make sure there's a unified profile, we make sure that there is a security consent there, and we make sure that we are using the technology in the right way, right? Rather than, making it open for everybody to extract the info.
Absolutely. And that very nicely brings us to the topic of AI, not only Gen AI, but AI overall, because you mentioned predictive analytics, and earlier Liubov mentioned the psychology and psychography of the customer, right, which is very important. I think everybody on the panel, you mentioned understanding the customer, giving a good customer experience. So the importance of knowing the emotion, the psychological drive to make a customer use, or at the end of the day, buy, right? Because that's why we're doing all this, is to get any customer to buy something. So what is that you've implemented, and you decided to implement AI to look at the psychology of the customer behavior through the customer journey, and I would like to touch upon the importance of that across the journey of the evolution of omnichannel.
So actually, Divya mentioned already that omnichannel, it starts from marketing campaign till the purchase, actually, and AI just helps to analyze each step of customer in each stage, and thanks to AI, we can get an information and detailed information about this journey, and just analyze it and see how can we improve our interaction with the customer. And there are actually several use cases when AI helps to do customer experience in a better way. For example, instead of traditional 1-5 evaluation after the call, for example, so we can see all dialogue with the customer and see some insights within this dialogue, and just to see many happy or sad moments, and based on this information to propose to customer the next time something which is really relevant for him. Another case that, for example, we can analyze work of our staff, so how they perform, and we can see who is performing better, who is not better, and just to improve these points. So there are several issues which we can improve with this kind of technology, yes.
This is a big topic, and we have less than 2 minutes left on this panel. I really would have loved to get into the channel and using AI on each channel. However, what I would like to do to just close out, because I'm pretty sure the folks are ready to have a drink. Where do you think we're going as an industry when it comes to omnichannel and customer experience? 1 or 2 words, Divya.
Well, I think it's going to augment the experience for the customers and also for the businesses. And I think if we not only the omni-channel aspect, right, this network API, telco API, we are talking about the geolocation there, right? It can create micro moments, personalized, right? It can create a moment for me when I'm in a shopping mall to buy the shoe that I'm looking for, right? So, because they know that I'm there and they can offer me a discount. So it's kind of a personalized approach to everything. That's going to happen. And omnichannel is going to let it come and give us an experience to that.
So augmented personalization.
Yeah.
David, go, your word.
Okay, I think that for me is integrated experiences.
Integrated experiences. You, Vova, do you have something? I'm looking at the clock counting down on the drinks, further information.
Your heart.
Conversational everything.
I love it. What about you, Liubov?
All together.
All together. I think that sums it up quite nicely, folks. Well, thank you for joining us for the last panel of the day. We're not able to take any questions, but we can answer your questions over a drink. So thank you, and I hope to see you and continue this conversation.